What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's Professor Anime. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I am here to bring you all the review for Shuumatsu no Izetta, otherwise known as Izetta, the Last Witch. Episode 3 we are talking about in today's review, so let's get this started. So in this episode of Shuumatsu no Izetta, this episode mainly focused on the disastrous nature of war and the consequences that it brings about. We see a lot of people dying in this episode, more so on the Elstayt side, which is the side on which Princess Fine is leading her soldiers, trying to take back her country, and we see a lot of people dying on her side of the fence, and it seems like the opposing force is conquering them and will soon eventually take over, and that is until pretty much by the end of this episode we see that Izetta ends up stepping into the plate and pretty much, handles things her way. Okay, because at first we have it to where, in the beginning of this episode, Izetta was talking to Princess Fine and basically telling her, well, why don't you use me? I will be more than happy to be used as a tool of war for you because I want to help you any way I can. With my powers, we can end up winning the war. She pretty much says that to Princess Fine. Princess Fine obviously declines, though, because she does not want her friend to get hurt or, worse, killed. But by the end of this episode, we see that Izetta says, due to the amount of troops that Princess Fine is losing on her side, she feels responsible for this, for not actually thinking of a way on how she can save, those troops down who are fighting in the battlefield, and because of her responsibility as a leader, she doesn't know what to do, and therefore this causes a lot of hurt on, to her, and Izetta doesn't like seeing her friend hurt, so Izetta ends up going onto the battlefield, helping out the troops, and pretty much, wiping out the whole 16th Tank Division. I think that's what she ended up doing. She pretty much took out all the tanks and all the other German forces there, and we have it to where they ended up winning that battle by the end of the episode. So now it seems like we are going to see Izetta actually being used as a tool of war, necessarily, and she is going to be helping out the country of Elstayt, helping out Princess Fine and the rest of her troops to actually benefit the war and hopefully win the war later down the line. But because of the fact that she is a witch with, a lot of power, we see by this episode that the German forces are actually getting word of, a witch, a supposed witch that is taking out all of their infantrymen. Now, because of the fact that the German forces now have wind of this, they are going to try their very best in order to take out Izetta, the Last Witch, because if they take out Izetta, they can pretty much win the war, because if you really think about it, the German forces technically have, much more manpower than Princess Fine does, and because of the fact that, they have more manpower than they do, they can end up winning the war if and only if they end up taking out Izetta first. So it seems like Izetta now officially has a red flag on, her character, saying that, hey, I may possibly die soon. So this means that, we might end up seeing a death later on in the series, and maybe, Izetta will go down in history as some sort of hero that actually brought the country of Elstayt back to its roots and, wiped out the German forces and whatnot. But yeah, we could end up seeing her die later down the line. Not exactly sure, but it's a possibility. And of course, by the end of this episode, we also see that the current king at the time, which is technically Princess Fine's father, the Excellency, ends up dying. He finally passed away due to, old age, and it seems like now Princess Fine is now going to become a queen, I guess. Well, actually, she wouldn't become a queen because, she has to get married for that first. But yeah, it does seem like now, Princess Fine is going to have a lot more responsibility on her shoulders, so there is that. So yeah, when it comes to this episode, it was fairly decent. It was pretty much just showing, the disastrous nature of war, and also a little bit more plot progression when it comes to how exactly things will play out later down the line when it comes to the series, especially with Izetta and how she is going to be used in the war in order to benefit the country of Elstayt. So I'm very excited to see, how exactly that will play out later down the line, and I'm very curious if we actually will see Izetta die off by the end of the series. Very curious on that. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this episode in the comments down below. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And yeah, I think that about does it. So I will catch you all in the next one. Peace, guys.